Ladies and gents, and everything in between, welcome back to the Alternative Paper Review. 3 stories a day from the UK's rags, from which we try to make sense of the senseless and light of your darkness. Let's do it. First up to the Daily Express. Today, we must make dementia an NHS priority. That's what the Daily Express coming out with today. We must make dementia an NHS priority. Do you know what? I think the only thing that's missing from that is a ... at the end, and then a little subheading that says, or our readership will continue to decline. Next up to the tax-dodging, Nazi-supporting, offshoring, on-the-pulse Daily Mail, with the repercussions currently being served to one Sarah Ferguson. Yeah, this is the story that even after she publicly distanced herself from Jeffrey Epstein, from whom she and Prince Andrew had taken some money to pay off some debts because of her spending, even after she had put out, press release, publicist quotes saying, "I abhor paedophilia in all its forms, and now with 2020 hindsight, obviously I never would have associated myself, and neither would my estranged husband have ever associated himself with Jeffrey Epstein. My thoughts, our thoughts are with the survivors. I distance myself now from Epstein." Even after she had publicly put that stuff out, actually, she was privately emailing Jeffrey and saying things along the lines of, "I'm really sorry. I had to say that stuff. I hope you'll understand. I had to say that. I'm a children's author. Like, professionally, I just cannot be associated with somebody who is even accused of this. And I know, I think it's all wrong. I love you. I think you're great, Jeff." And anyway, now the press are really going after her for it. They've gone after Andrew. Of course they have. They've given him a rough ride. But there's almost certainly embarrassing emails between Andrew and Epstein. And if it's the choice of mauling an actual prince, a man in the firm, or diving in headfirst into a sort of public witch burning, if they can go after a woman instead who isn't an actual royal. It's the Daily Mail, right? I'm sure you guys know this. This is how they, I don't want to teach anybody to suck toes. Anyway, so now the Daily Mail are saying 7 charities are showing leadership by axing the Duchess over Epstein emails because she's a patron. She's an ambassador for charities, as are, many of the royals and their extended people or whatever. Look, I'm not an expert on the royal family. You got me. There's going to be people in the comments like, "Well, actually, she is sort of technically a royal." I don't care. So the charities are axing her. The Daily Mail are lobbying for more places, people and institutions to also axe her. God, that sounds a bit wrong, doesn't it? I know typically I would be categorized as left-wing. I always think of myself as just, comfortably left of center, not necessarily a full-blown lefty. But I know that a lot of you are. A lot of you are comfortably turbo left, right? And that's fine. But I just want to make it really clear that when we say axe her, we do not mean in the sort of traditional left-wing revolutionary guillotine kind of sense. We are not about political or revolutionary violence on this channel. I cannot stress that enough in the current climate. So lots of people are distancing themselves from Sarah Ferguson this morning. And I suppose the only question now really remains, are they really distancing themselves? Or are they actually secretly sending her DMs going like, "Oh, I hope you don't mind. I'm really, really sorry. We're not really distancing. We're still friends, aren't we? I hope you understand, Sarah. I have to publicly distance myself from you to protect my business interests." Finally, to the Mirror today for Farage's disastrous plan. Yeah, guys. Can I just pause for thought here? Pause for appreciation. Really? Because it is the first time in a long time that I have seen Nigel Farage even close to adequately appraised across the front pages of 5 UK newspapers this morning. He's actually being held to account. So we had the Mirror there. We've got the Independent. Farage deportation plan condemned as an unworkable stunt. The Independent sister paper, The Eye, say new Farage plan to deport migrants would split families who live in Britain. Perhaps unsurprisingly, The Guardian. Outrageous Farage threatens mass deportation of legal immigrants. Even The Times. Farage faces questions on migrant benefit sums. And we spoke about this yesterday, didn't we? About how if you got rid of indefinite leave to remain, like these are not illegal migrants. These are visa holders. These are people who have paid the application fee, goes into the Treasury, to the Home Office. These are people who have built lives here. They've got loved ones. They've got relatives. They've built relationships. Their kids are in school. But as we said yesterday, he was dragged to the right over the weekend by people like Tommy Robinson, Rupert Lowe, half of Twitter, basically, saying it's not enough to quell or to lower immigration figures. The political right have now moved so far to the right that we need to actively reverse the years of mass immigration as they see it. That's what they were saying. And so then in much the same way is what I was alluding to yesterday, in much the same way as Labour keep moving to the right to try to take the conversation from Reform, Reform are now having to move further to the right to take the conversation from Rupert Lowe. And the only problem is that when Farage does it, as the party who is polling way in the lead and is likely to be the UK's next Prime Minister, he attracts a greater level of scrutiny. And so now the newspapers are like, well, how is this going to work? If you cancel indefinite leave to remain, what's going to happen to the banking sector, the technology sector, pharmaceuticals, broadcasting? Like any big industry in the UK will have a healthy population of indefinite leave to remain visa holders working in and for it. Now, it might play well to the Tommy foot soldiers, to the Tommy brigade to go like, any foreigners, we're going to just remigrate them. And don't call us far right, even though this was originally a BNP policy. Do you remember when we used to call the BNP far right and the National Front far right? Well, now we're in a situation where the British political right are trying to ape the BNP and National Front policies of yesteryear, while at the same time expecting reasonable, sane centre-left people to not look at them and go like, you know, you're being really far right with all of this. So it might play well with the knuckle draggers. But once you attempt to wrap substance and scrutiny around these policies, well, that's when we all realise how devastating it would be to the economy that you claim you would be a more professional and reasonable and trustworthy steward of. Like, Labour don't know what they're doing. Look at all the high taxes. The economy isn't growing. The Tories don't know what they're doing. Look at all the high taxes and we weren't growing. Well, what's your plan? Richard Tice, what's your plan, Nigel Farage? Well, we're going to stop paying interest on QE loans. We're going to run into the Treasury and announce a load of unfunded Trussian tax cuts again. Oh, and we're going to gut our breadwinner industries of their key resource and talent by shuttering and reversing all of the indefinite leave to remain. Okay, and who's going to work in those industries then? How are those companies going to continue to function if you take out all their resource? Oh, well, they'll just have to train up Brits then, won't they? Train up our young people. Well, that would take years. That would take like 5, 10, 15 years to train up people. Yes, well, that'll just get us back on the straight and narrow. A generational shift back to good old Great Britain. You don't think a bunch of corporations that work on quarterly and annual profit life cycle reports, you don't think they might be a little bit impatient? They won't hang around. They'll just move to one of their other global HQs. You'll get a Sanofi Aventis headquarters set up in Paris. More banks will move into the EU. Fewer investors will come and set up in Blighty. They're like, no, I'm sure they'll hang around because Britain is Britain, the greatest country in the world. Like, for me, I love this idea that we would like train up our young. When we all know from the figures that nobody is having babies. There won't be enough young. Like the housing crisis, the childcare crisis, the cost of living crisis, all of it. Your rent figures, your energy bills, it's making it impossible for people to start families. Like, I know that the Telegraph bang on about like, oh, this school shut down and it's all Labour's fault. Well, I swear to God, 9 times out of 10, the school is shut down if it's like in London or around London because there's not enough applications. People are not having babies. If there's no babies now and they don't grow up to be 16, 17-year-old apprentices, even if the corporation's stuck around for that long, which they won't, who exactly are you expecting them to be trading? In 10 years' time or 15 years' time, we're going to trade our young. Where? Where are the young? Nobody's having babies. And you know what? The few people who do have babies who grow up to be the 14 or 15-year-olds of the future, they'll probably want to fuck off as well to distance themselves from people like Prince Andrew. Honestly. Can somebody ring the Daily Express? Get them to give me dementia so I can just forget all of this.